Now welcome you all to the South Bay Survivorship Consortium. This meeting is being recorded, so Becca, feel free to record. So you can press OK. You will be getting a link here on your screen. We want to welcome you to a lecture tonight that was actually, I don't know if you guys have all heard of the South Bay Survivorship Consortium, but this is a group that was formed in 2009 to create a forum where healthcare providers can focus on excellence in survivorship care in our whole South Bay community, which does extend, in this case, to Long Beach. The consortium model is bringing coordinated support to cancer survivors and their loved ones. Our goal is to disseminate information through these lectures to cancer survivors all throughout the South Bay and beyond. And we believe that survivorship begins the day of diagnosis for the person being diagnosed and our loved ones. So our group is a consortium of various hospitals in the South Bay, nonprofit organizations, and Mary Welch today is joining us via Long Beach Memorial Medical Center. She is a gynecological oncology nurse practitioner. Mary is amazing. I used to work with Mary at Long Beach Memorial. I could say, or MemorialCare Long Beach, I think it's called now. I can attest for how incredible she is with her in-depth nursing and clinical knowledge. She also has taken it above and beyond in, privately and in her own endeavors of researching, studying everything to know about nutrition and weight loss management, which we know is oh so important to cancer survivorship. She knows how to teach people how to take charge. So thank you, Mary. I'll mention a little more about you here in the description. Lifelong yo-yo dieter, American, right? That's what we all are. She's a lifelong yo-yo dieter and overcame obesity by eating real food. Excellent. She now spreads the word about the health risks of being overweight and obesity and encourages health optimization by lecturing to the community and providing weight loss coaching to individual clients. Mary earned her Bachelor's of Science degree and Master's degree from Georgetown University in DC. She's certified as an Advanced Oncology Nurse, a Family Nurse Practitioner, and a certified weight loss coach. So let me see. Thank you so much, Mary. Again, to everybody here, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. And if I didn't forget anything, feel free to get going. I could pass you the
thank
phone.
you.
Yeah.
All right. Let me hopefully share my screen here. Thank you so much for having me. I had a really great time putting these slides together because I didn't realize it at the time that I was an emotional eater when my mom was going through her dementia journey, but I truly was, and I gained a bunch of weight. And once I got a coach and kind of dialed it all in, I realized that that was one way I was coping with that grief as someone's going through dementia. And I'll talk about that a little bit later, but this conversation is just to educate you and support you, not to judge you or blame you in any way. Are you seeing my main slide just to double check? Is everything looking okay? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. Good. So whether you're in treatment, a survivor, or if you're doing caregiving, emotional eating is a human response. And today we're just going to look at this sort of eating through a lens of compassion and how we can regulate our nervous system and not really think about needing willpower, but how do we take great care of ourselves. So a little about me. Brittany did a great job of going over things. And like I said, my mom passed away in 2017, and then I had gained a lot of weight and finally hired a coach who helped me. And she realized, that I was last on my list. I was dealing with taking care of a elementary school child. I was working full time. The phone would ring unexpectedly, like, your mom, called the police when she was living by herself at ward. It got to where, okay, we need to make a plan and fast. And then she got into assisted living, and sometimes she wouldn't eat because she thought food was poison, or she wouldn't want to shower, or she'd get in the shower and wouldn't want to get out of the shower. And they're calling me at work, like, your mom won't get out of the shower. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do about it? So the stress was building up. And I would go to see her, and after I would go and see her, I'd be going through a drive-through getting a chili cheese dog and an ice cream cone and going home and having dinner. And I didn't realize I was just kind of numbing with food. So needless to say, my weight went up. And once she passed away, I decided to really get into looking after myself with the coach. I lost over 50 pounds, reverse kidney disease, and felt so much better. So now I'm on a mission to really help people feel better. And what really hit home was when I was at this lecture for oncology nursing that had a bunch of speakers. And one of the speakers was talking about the link between obesity and cancer. And I did not realize it at the time, but her talk said that obesity really increased the risk for at least 13 different cancers. And at the BMI I was at quadruple the risk of endometrial cancer, and those are the patients I take care of every day. And the next thing she said was very powerful. She said it was a modifiable risk factor, and I thought, modifiable risk factor? I never smoked because I didn't want lung cancer. So in my mind, a switch flipped, and I realized that if I continued to eat in an unhealthy way, I was putting myself at higher risk for cancer. And I wanted to stick around for my son over here who was, you know, in elementary school. And that started on this journey. And um, as I learned stuff, I just love learning and sharing with everyone. So thank you for being here tonight. But emotional eating is very natural. What happens when we're born and a baby cries? If the diaper isn't wet, they're getting a bottle, right? So we're soothed with food from a baby. So we're looking at patterns that we've had pretty much since birth. So emotional eating is a very, very common condition. And especially when you're dealing with something like cancer or stress or caregiving. So my intention here is that you walk away with some tools that are gentle, doable, supportive to you, no matter where you are in your journey. You don't need to fix anything, just kind of notice things and be compassionate with yourself. I also want this to be interactive, so absolutely feel free to put questions in the chat. I may not see them right away, but um, people can jump in and let me know. It won't be bothering me at all. Or we can spend as much time at the end to go over things. And I'm happy to talk to anyone offline afterwards. You can reach out. So my contact information is at the end as well. So you're here. It's been, what is it? 5:30, probably been up early. So let's just take a minute to arrive here, settle down, take a deep breath, just one slow deep breath in, and then a nice exhale out, and feel that chair underneath you. Feel the support. Let the stress of the day go. Nothing's broken. You're safe and secure right now. And let the stress go and really be open to whatever you can get from this talk today. There's nothing to fix. And when we notice emotional eating, it's a sign our body is looking for safety and it's trying to get that safe, secure feeling we had as babies where we were held in a parent's arm or caregiver's arm, having a bottle or something very soothing and nurturing. So let that breath out and we'll move on. So there's a difference between emotional hunger and physical hunger. So we're going to dive in a little more on what is emotional eating. And emotional eating is when you're eating to soothe emotions rather than for physical hunger. And sometimes you can tell when it's physical hunger, it comes on suddenly. Usually, if you think about when you last ate, you're like, wow, it's been 3 or 4 hours since I had any food. And really, anything would sound good. You're like, wow, there's an apple there. Yeah, I'm hungry. That apple looks good. Or, I see some cheese and crackers. That looks good. When it's emotional hunger, you may be fine, and all of a sudden it's like, I need a cookie and it's urgent, or I need ice cream. Usually it's something sweet. Somehow these emotional hunger cues don't have you going for a banana or broccoli. It's usually something that has a very big dopamine hit, one of these highly palatable foods. It could be ice cream for some, chocolate for other. We joke around here at the office that we have like a 3 p.m. emergency chocolate stash because that's often when energy dips and you're a little bit stressed out. So it is a way for our body to survive. And if you catch yourself emotionally eating, it's not a failure, but the more you notice it, the sooner you can catch it before it happens and come up with something else. So you might have a trigger. So for me, the trigger might be, oh, I got a phone call saying my mom's having a bad day, and suddenly I'm craving something. Or maybe it was a difficult call and it's like, oh, now I'm looking, searching for chips or something salty and crunchy. And right away, you sort of feel a bit better. It provides temporary relief, and then after a while, you might have some guilt and shame, like, oh, I didn't need to eat that whole bag of chips, or, I'm trying to get healthy, and here I am. I just ate, several pieces of C's candy. I did not need them. And that could make this whole cycle a little bit worse. So why does this emotional eating happen? There's a whole lot of reasons. For people that are on a cancer journey, fear is around. Fear from diagnosis, fear waiting for tests, fears waiting for scan results, fear about how are you going to tell family members about what's going on, fear about your future, fear about your job, fear about finances. There's a lot of fear. There could be sadness. The future you might have thought about may be different, or you never thought this could be you. And there's a lot of that that may come up. Your role may change. You may go from the person that was working a lot to now you're just not able to work as much. And you may have physical exhaustion from treatment, pain, lack of sleep, all of that. If you're caregiving for someone, you can also have those emotions of trying to look strong and holding it together when you're sad, seeing them going through something like I was with my mom and her dementia. You want to be there for her, but it's causing stress. You are worried about them. You can see them declining perhaps, and um, taking care of yourself while taking care of another is often challenging. So we often will get depleted and our brain's looking for fast comfort. And a lot of these foods that we're drawn to tend to be these highly palatable foods that have the perfect blend of sugar, salt, and fat that just hit the bliss point in our brain and give us pretty good relief. So the brain is definitely trying to help us. It's trying to calm us down. It's offering us things to help us in a difficult situation. And when we're tired, we're not making the best choices. We're just looking for a little energy boost or that. So noticing this pattern can help. So our nervous system is involved. We may feel unsafe. We're almost in this fight or flight instead of rest or digest. So in some ways you want to run or you feel a lack of control and your nervous system's on high alert. In that state, your brain's looking for anything predictable and soothing. So it may reach for that piece of candy or the muffin or even a piece of pizza or something that's just made you feel better in the past. Food can work quickly, and that's why these urges can feel pretty intense and automatic. And you may not even be aware, and you may just be grabbing something and then you look at your hand and you're like, oh my gosh, why is there candy in it? I'm not eating candy today. And you may catch it or you may not. And this cycle is just like this. You feel some stress or something happens. This urge may come on suddenly and it may be quite severe. And usually you'll end up going and finding something to eat. And some people may have other ways of coping. They could be doing online shopping or other things that just provide a little relief. But then after that relief, the cycle may continue unless you break it. So if you notice this, you can break the cycle and get your choice back. So as you're on treatment, There's things that you get in conjunction with your treatment that may make cravings and things a little bit worse. Steroids are a perfect example. They're great for preventing nausea, reducing inflammation, swelling in the brain, but they increase cravings and they increase appetite. I remember being in the hospital giving people high dose steroids, and they'd be giving me money to go to the vending machine to get them sticker bars at things at 3 in the morning because they just were craving that sugar. So this can really trigger appetite and craving. It's not that anything is wrong, but that these medications may be making it more of an impact, and some stress hormones may be involved as well. Fatigue can definitely increase your cravings, and poor sleep can also affect your hunger hormones like leptin and ghrelin. Caregivers are often not getting enough sleep because they're staying awake, pushing through things, and they're waiting to hear if they're needed. So they're sleeping very lightly, and they may have that care load um, of taking care of themselves and others, and they may have very little time for making self-care a priority. So eating has context, and it makes sense that this may be challenging as you go through this period. So we talked about recognizing patterns, and sometimes you can predict, like, I'm great at the day, but at the end of the day, when I've got the kids to bed and I'm alone, that's when I feel like I could just sit down with a bowl of chips or popcorn or a dish of ice cream, and this is time for myself. That's your body looking for a break. And if you notice that, you can think about what other ways might I take a break that may not be these foods. Um, it's not about judging, but noticing. It could be, I've had such a rough day, I deserve this. Or you may just be eating something to stay awake. Maybe it's a coffee with a lot of creams and sugars and, syrupy things that is practically a meal in itself that may keep you awake and wired. But ask yourself, when does emotional eating tend to show up for me? And if you can say, oh, it's always, at the end of the day, then you can come up with a strategy or a plan to deal with that. And it gives us options and helps us be proactive. If we feel shameful about it, that just kind of shuts us down and makes the cycle worse. So I think this next slide here is very interesting. And it's a wheel of emotions, uncomfortable emotions and comfortable emotions. And when you look at it, a lot of the emotions people feel as they go through a cancer journey, there can be a lot of sadness, maybe loneliness because they're not at work or with the friends that they normally see. They may be disappointed in how family or friends have responded to things. They thought maybe more people would call or um, check on them. Definitely, they're scared, feeling anxious, powerless, and overwhelmed. These are all very common in the people I take care of. There can definitely be anger, like, why did this happen to me? I eat healthy, vegan, I do yoga, and they're mad that they are getting cancer because, they've taken good care of themselves. There can definitely be a little bit feeling excluded. So these can all bring down energy. And the other emotions, though, can help a little bit. So you can shift some of these thoughts into um, being grateful that people look in on you or offer to help. You can definitely feel loved by the little note you might get from somebody. You can feel brave or even hopeful that there's treatments for you. So you can shift and do some of these things like the creative stuff. There's things through the cancer support community that can help you be more creative. Um, so these emotions can trigger urges, and anxiety, overwhelm, guilt, and fear can just make you feel more emotional, more stressed out. And if you sort of can figure out what you're feeling, you can say, oh, gee, that's anxiety that I'm feeling right now. And you can breathe through it a little bit and perhaps avoid that urge. So awareness is the first step to helping soothe your body and decreasing urges you might be experiencing. So here are a few nervous system tools to help reduce urges. And it's great to look at this cancer support community calendar. There's so many classes and events. If you haven't, looked online at all the stuff, there's so many things that can help you with this. If you're not sure, how to do this stuff on your own, there's a lot of classes on breathing, yoga, tai chi that can all very much help your nervous system regulate. And the good news is they're all free of charge. But breathing is great. When you do an extended exhale, that will absolutely tell your body it's safe. So you don't need willpower to reduce urges. You need some nervous system regulation. So if you're feeling stressed or if you just got a troubling phone call or bad news, just taking a breath in, perhaps for a count of 4, and then letting it out for a count of 6 or 8. That long exhale is going to let your body know that it's safe. Another thing that works really well is to put your hands over your heart or on your cheek, and that can calm you down pretty quickly as well. The other could be, oh, I'm feeling worried or I'm feeling anxious, and naming that emotion. Even normalizing it. Well, it's normal that I'm feeling anxious because I don't know my plan yet and I don't know what to expect over the next few weeks. It's normal that I'm feeling anxious right now, and it's okay. This anxiety can be here for a little while. And even something as simple as orienting yourself to where you are. So when you're feeling very um, agitated or upset, just looking around and naming 5 things you see. Like, I see the tree outside, I see my phone, I see a pretty flower. That brings you to the present, and you can even look at things you hear, things you smell, things you touch. It kind of gets you out of the emotion and into the reality of what's around you. So those are all simple nervous system tools you can do pretty much any time, and nobody even needs to know you're doing them, but you may find they help you. I think when people are in a waiting room waiting for someone to come in, breathing is great. Often people's blood pressure is high when they first get put in a room, and then after time it comes down a little bit. So doing some of these things can be super helpful. When you look at urges, thinking of them like a wave can be one way to see it. Urges don't last long. I think when I've timed urges before, they usually go within a minute and a half. So if you have this urge for something, it feels super urgent. You're going to have a trigger that's craving this urge. It's going to rise and become a little stronger, almost like a little toddler yelling at you, like, I want it, I want it, I want it. If you start breathing, it's going to peak at a certain point. And especially if you're like, you just ate an hour ago, you don't need anything right now, it will fall off pretty quickly. So they do not stick around. You're not likely going to be having an urge for the next half hour for something that's going to be short-lived. So if you can breathe through it, that is great. Riding the wave definitely reduces it. You don't stop it, but you're just trying to stay on top of it. So that can definitely help. And 10 or 20 seconds of breathing can get you almost completely through that urge. But again, that pause technique. If you feel the urge coming on or you notice you're upset, you can stop and breathe, put your hands on your heart, feel the urge, name the feeling, and then take a deep breath and just have a moment of presence. Like, okay, I'm going through a lot right now. It makes sense that I feel this way. I'm just going to breathe through it and let it be, and let it work through you, and hopefully it will move through within 90 seconds. There's non-food ways to soothe yourself. So if your nervous system needs comfort and care, these are other things that are really great, like having a nice warm blanket or fuzzy socks. Socks are great. They just help you feel better. Putting that hand on the heart. If you're feeling tired, taking a micro break, laying down on your bed for 5 minutes. If you're a caregiver and don't have much time, that can work wonders. Slowing down, taking some deep breaths, texting a friend, asking for support. And it's funny, right before I did this talk, I got a text from a friend and she thought, oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm eating stuff. I'm not hungry. Annoyed with myself. And then she went on to say, I've been pretty stressed out. She lives on the East Coast and they were having a lot of weather and she didn't get to do her normal grocery shopping trip and a couple of other things happened. And um, she's all, but I'm already back on track. And I thought, oh, it's funny that I'm doing this talk on emotional eating, but you just said you're very stressed out. I said, but you're already texting a friend for support. So you're already almost self-regulating your nervous system. Um, Sensory soothing things can be really great. I have a little thing here with some lavender oil that can help. So if I'm getting stressed out, I have my essential oils that you can breathe in. Sometimes music can help relax you. And sometimes a change of scene can help. If you've been inside all day, getting out into the sunshine for a few minutes or getting some fresh air can change your perspective. If it's really bright, turn the lights down, put on a candle, just help yourself feel a bit better. And then rewriting that shame story. So like that friend that texted me, it's like, gosh, I'm eating stuff and I don't really want to eat. Feeling shame about it isn't going to make it any better. It creates more stress, and that could lead to more urges. So feeling compassionate to yourself can really interrupt this cycle. So she acknowledged, like, yes, I'm having a tough moment. These things were going on. And I was looking for comfort, and it made sense because she was trying to juggle this and that, and her plans didn't go exactly as planned. So just saying, my body was seeking comfort, and that is a way to give yourself some compassion and not feel shameful about it. And making your next best choice. So if something happened, let's say you got the little carton of Ben and Jerry's ice cream, that thing says it's 4 servings. But if you eat it all in one go or two goes, just notice that, I ate that and maybe I don't bring it into the house or something so that it doesn't happen again. So after you have an emotional eating episode, um, here are some responses that are helpful. So what do we do after this? What we do after is more important than the eating itself. So punishment or restriction really makes the cycle worse. Instead, you want to think about, what did I really need? And let's say you were really tired and overeat food. It could be, I probably needed to just go to bed, or I needed a nap. And then you could take the next step. It could be rest or drinking water or stepping outside or remembering to take a breath. So just being extra kind to yourself. And then creating your own personal plan. So again, instead of trying to change everything, think about what tools that we talked about might be helpful for you. Is there a trigger that you'd like to understand more? Like, why is it after I visit my mom at the memory care, I feel like getting a chili cheese dog through the drive-through? Am I really feeling sad or grieving the loss of my mom who was sharp and, talking without making a lot of nonsense? And it could be that's what's going on. What's one calming tool that you can realistically use this week? And it could be, I'm going to get my cozy blanket handy, or I'm going to have a friend that I text when I'm not feeling good, or a phone call to talk to somebody. And what's a kind message you want to offer yourself? So come up with a plan to support yourself. So, key takeaways, really, emotional eating is a coping strategy. It's not a flaw or a personality defect. Awareness allows you to notice it and perhaps stop the urge from being acted upon. But even if you end up going through with whatever the urge is driving to you, never blaming yourself is important. And small tools can make a big change over time. Some of the healthy coping strategies are outlined here, and so many of them are available at the cancer support community. There's a walking group, so you can go for a walk, reading a book, playing with pets. There's some art classes there at the cancer support community. There's some music, um, dancing, doing Zumba, I think I saw. That could be a lot of fun. Journaling workshops, writing workshops, stretching classes, yoga, tai chi, deep breathing, all of that is on the calendar. So if you take a chance to look at what's offered, you can really plan to make a little time for yourself, both online or in person is available. And that may help you regulate your nervous system a little bit and get control of emotional eating, because that emotional eating is likely your body's way of saying it's looking for a little rest, a little comfort, a little support. And you can give yourself a little love by doing some of the wonderful things that are available at the cancer support community. So I'd love to open up now to questions or reflections. If you've struggled with emotional eating, if there's anything I didn't cover, or questions that may have come up as we went through this, I'm happy to follow up and share any resources that I may have with you.
Thank you so much, Mary. And yes, please, anybody feel free to drop any questions in the chat. Yeah, or whatever you welcome, Mary. Mhm.
I was delayed in getting here, so I'm hoping this was recorded.
Yes, it is recorded.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, feel free as we're kind of digesting all of this. Yeah, a lot of healthily digesting it. With your soothing voice, Mary, you're calming my nervous system just by listening to your storybook voice. It's so wonderful. And I just can't thank you enough as a therapist
Sure.
and social worker for you making the link of the mind, the body, the nervous system, and how it relates to cravings, and then how that relates to finding a better way of getting a sense of empowerment over how to, how to treat ourselves, how we relate to ourselves in a more kind and compassionate way, which therefore also, the stress underlies these I also agree real quick in mental health that like a lot of like the things people do in general, whether with food or even if people, happen to use substances or this and that, I really do feel like people are truly trying to regulate their nervous system beneath it all. So thank you for this.
Sure. It looks like Chatara has a hand up.
Okay.
I can unmute you if you want to
Oh, I see a
just,
hand. Good job, Mary. Yes.
let's see.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm gonna
Hello.
turn my camera on if that helps.
Hi there.
Hi. Thank you so much, Miss Mary. And I guess my question would be, like, I know you said that you are also like a weight certified weight loss coach. I was looking at the color wheel and I was just wondering, like, what are some of the tools that you use today to help you maintain the weight loss?
Well, that's a great question. And it's definitely, a work in progress. I think realizing that it's not a perfect journey and you make the best choice that you can. And if it's not a perfect day, what's the next best choice I can make? But definitely thoughts can um, come into a play when you're over here in these overwhelmed or even shame. I mean, when I was heavy, I felt a lot of shame. I felt like a hypocrite. I felt that I should be this example of being healthy, and here I couldn't even, get my health under control, and I'm carrying this extra weight. So there was a lot of sort of self beat up and this doubt that because I had lost weight and gained it back over the years that I just couldn't do it. And you'd almost think, oh, I blew it. And I think getting out of that thought, like, oh, ice cream happened. Okay, that's interesting. Instead of letting that one ice cream turn into thing where, oh, I'm terrible. I'm never going to figure this out. Now I'm going to eat the pizza and have some more ice cream and I'll start over on Monday. And I've gained 5 pounds from, Thursday night till Monday because I just went on some food fest. Instead of saying,
Right.
okay, that's interesting. I had some ice cream. All right, what do I need? And okay, well, I'm going back to eating and the way that I like that supports my body the best. And I think as I went through my journey, I started noticing what foods felt better. And honestly, some of the sweet foods, they may be good in the moment, but I noticed like, oh, gee, I don't sleep as well, or I have more up and down blood sugar. So switching over to less processed food and more fruits and vegetables and healthy foods. Some foods are hard to have in the house, so I just set up my environment for success. So having ice cream in the house is hard for me. So I'm a little too lazy to go out to the store and get ice cream at night if I have an ice cream craving. But if I want ice cream, I'll go get it, but I'll get it in a portioned amount. Like I'll go to get an ice cream cone and I've enjoyed the cone and I've had just a cone and not a carton of Ben and Jerry's ice cream because they say that's 4 servings. My brain thinks it's one. So,
Right.
so that's a great question. I think having a vision for me, another just thinking about my future self helps. And I've been really working with coaches myself since my journey. So what is it now?
Okay.
Like 8 years. So future self. Okay, I'm 58 now. And I have I was an older mom. So by the my kid's 17 now. So, I'll almost be 60 when he's heading off to college. So I want to be an active, hopefully, grandma if he has a kid someday, which means he may not have grandkids until I'm almost 80 or 75. And so I want to stay in good health and be around. So I see myself there. And do the fact that my parents had dementia, eating too much food or too much sugar can impact my brain and
Mhm.
increase the risk for things like diabetes. And
Mhm.
if I eat better now, I can age better and maybe avoid joint pain, which I had when I was 236 pounds. My knees hurt, my ankles hurt. It was hard
Mhm.
to walk to my car, and I feel better, lighter. So the food tastes good. Yes, I still like food, but feeling lighter feels better. So I
Mhm.
think there's a lot of coaching in your head, and there's a hypnotist lady that
Mhm.
I listen to a lot. She talks about having your inner coach, your inner rebel, and your inner critic. Her name's Rita Black, and she does hypnosis to help with weight loss too.
Mhm.
But you kind of have your inner coach saying, yeah, we're taking good care of ourselves and we're doing this. And the rebel's like, oh, you deserve that candy. You work so hard. And the critic's telling you, you did it wrong. You're a
Mhm.
loser. So you almost have to have this conversation with all the parts of your brain. And
Mhm.
that inner coach gets louder saying, no, critic, I hear you. Rebel, I hear you. But this is what we're doing. And so you start being the, what would you say, the architect of the life you want, and not the victim of the rebel or the habits, because anything you did in the past is the past.
Mhm.
And what happened in the past doesn't matter. It's who you are today and the decisions you make today that impact the next day and the next week, which is pretty freeing, I think.
Mhm.
So you have a fresh start every day, every hour. If
Mhm.
it's hard to make a change, thinking, oh, I can't not eat, you know, let's say chips for a whole day. It's like, well, can I not eat chips for an hour if that's something you don't want to eat or whatever your trigger food might be? Could I limit,
Mhm.
um, let's say you can't see living without ice cream or a cookie, but decide, okay, I want to have that only 2 or 3 times a week. And then you have limits around it. It's like, okay, well, I can do that, but only if I'm out at a restaurant or only if it's a family member's birthday, or rules that help you stay in control. Because, every day there's going to be something to celebrate, especially where I work. Someone's always having a birthday, someone's always finishing chemo. There's always generous patients bringing in boxes of, Brittany, seeds,
It was the
candy,
I have to tell you, Mary, when I worked there,
pastries.
no
Yes.
joke. I just had to, when I wanted to get in shape one time, I just said I'm not going to go to the into the area where all the sweets are because they're there every
Yes.
day. Yeah.
Same. I'm like, I'm not opening that door because I know there's a box
I
of
know.
donuts. I mean, when I was working with my coach, I literally would take pictures of the stuff. I'm
It
like,
was
look what
fun.
I'm dealing with today. And I would send it to her. And she's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, there's stuff there all day. I'm like, I know. And it's good. It's not always good for you, not every day. So
Mm.
great question. Did that answer it? I feel like I
A
rambled.
little bit, because I think for me, one of the things that I've been wrestling with these past 3 weeks, or I should say about a month now, since mom has passed from triple negative cancer,
Mm,
is the grief and the guilt of being her caregiver,
Mm.
not fully understanding the many moving pieces with her type of cancer,
mm,
on top of her rejection, but more so like her rejection was really protection. As a mom, I could only imagine me of three, her of nine, that, I don't want to be a burden. But now I find myself like right now, I had about 10 Reese cups. Yeah, they're dark chocolate, but I'm like, I keep telling myself, Shatara, we can't keep eating Dairy Queen every night, to kind of help. But then it's just like, it's not the uncertainty because now I know that mom is gone. It's not, okay, we have another doctor's appointment or how I'm going to get her up. Those are not the things. But I was looking at the emotional triggers chart and I was just looking for where the grief, fear, and helplessness fell
mm,
into on that chart in hopes that I can go on the right side of the chart to kind of see what pieces I'm missing to kind of help with that grief. Because grief is kind of funky. It comes when it
oh,
wants to come. It
right.
doesn't ask for
Mm.
permission.
Yeah, it's 100%. And I'm so sorry about the loss of your mom.
Thank
I mean,
you.
I didn't realize it, but I was grieving my mom while she was alive. And when she died, I had anger, I had grief.
Yeah.
I couldn't go to church for a while because she was this very like spiritual woman. And I thought, how did God let her go through
Mhm.
this? And yeah, I've been the Dairy Queen thing. And I think, probably grief falls in the sadness on the wheel. And
Mhm.
one thing is to shift to things that you remember about your mom. And it may not be 3 weeks, that's pretty fresh. And you're probably dealing with so much that you navigate when someone's passed away, like wrapping up an estate and doing
Yeah.
those things too.
Mhm.
So I think being super compassionate to yourself, and if you're going to Dairy Queen, get the small size, level up a little bit, if so it may not be that I have no Dairy Queen, but I'm not getting the large Blizzard, I'm getting the, mini Blizzard, and that's better, see, I know the sizes. So, um, so yeah, that's a great question. And grief will sometimes it flares up at odd times.
Mm. I love this chart, by the way. This wheel is great, Mary. Where did you get this?
Oh, I just kind of Googled images, so
Mm.
but this one I liked a lot. And working on your mind, if you notice,
Mhm.
like, sometimes you can be over here a lot and it gets you into inaction a lot for different things. But if you start thinking about how loved you were by your mom and how
Mm.
grateful you are that you were able to be there for her and care for her, and maybe how brave your mom faced her treatment, that will
Mm.
shift you to more positive, not to say good or bad, but just more emotions that will uplift you rather than pull you down.
Mm.
So looking at that chart and saying, my mom was affectionate. I'm lucky she was affectionate. Or
Mm.
um, I'm hopeful that my mom knew how much I loved her as I cared for her. And I'm happy. Hopefully, you're happy that part of the experience might have been better than you expected. Everybody's end of life sometimes can be beautiful, sometimes it's not, but maybe there was a, nice hospice team involved, or maybe some people in the hospital that were very caring, and thinking about those things might help you as well, instead of feeling so sad or, oh, I didn't do everything I could for my mom. Part of that, what if thinking doesn't help you at all because you can't change it. So you were there for her the best way you knew how to be, and I'm sure she felt your love.
Beautiful. And just a reminder real quick as we're continuing to answer these questions, if you check in the chat, there's a link to fill out this survey. You could complete it as we're kind of listening, or just a reminder so you don't forget. We really appreciate your feedback and clicking the link here that Becca put in here, so we could always get feedback on what kind of lectures you guys want to hear, and let us know what you learned from Mary. That's very helpful. So some of you that can maybe look into that. And then I did notice, real quick, to backtrack, Michelle had left a question in here. I don't know if we addressed that one. She said, Michelle Garcia, she said, is there a prompt that I could use to help remind me to use the tools in the moment, right? It's all about that mindfulness piece. How do you do it, Mary?
Sometimes having a 3x5 card in your pocket can help. And then you reach into your pocket and you're like, oh, what's this thing here?
I like
And
that.
again, I'm not perfect. If I go into that room, sometimes I'm like, oh, I went in for coffee and there's goodies. And next thing you know, I'm like, wait, I don't even want this. And sometimes noticing mid-act, I took a bite now, oh, the rest is going in the trash. So you can stop that anytime. But the
Mm.
tools, sometimes putting the list, let me find that list of some of the things. I find having a list of things that are good for you for self-care are also good. Or if you feel like you want a snack, I've had clients that are like, I just want to do something with my hands at night, like snacking, chips, popcorn. And it's like, do something else with your hands, crochet, make a puzzle,
Mm.
do like one of those marker mindful books. So you're doing something with your hands, you're relaxing, but it's not food. So sometimes that's it. So you kind of figure out what might be coming up that you could do differently.
This is so great. I love the idea of the note card.
Yeah, and even looking at it every day,
Mm-hmm.
places where you're going to see it. I've had people
Mm-hmm.
put stickies on their steering wheel, like, okay, whatever it is, like remember to breathe when feeling stressed, or drink water. You might be thirsty, and sometimes we get busy and you're thinking you're hungry and you're just thirsty. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to have a drink of water. And noticing that urge, even telling yourself, you know what? Because I think the rebel can flare up if you say, you can't have that. One of the things that helps, this is kind of a Corinne Crabtree, another coach I follow. She believes in a 24-hour plan. She believes you can eat anything you want. You just make a plan for the day, and whatever's on that plan is pretty much what you eat. So let's say
Mm-hmm.
you didn't have a cookie on your plan, but you want a cookie, you're like, great, I'm going to plan for a cookie tomorrow. And oftentimes tomorrow comes around and you don't want that cookie because it was just an urge. So you're not saying you can't have the cookie. You just can't have it right now because you did not put it on your plan for the day. So you got to plan in advance. So in the morning, you might just jot down, like, okay, I'm going to eat this for breakfast, this for lunch, this for dinner. And, my sweet for the day might be this, or maybe you don't have one. But then, if donuts were in, you're like, gee, I didn't put donuts on my list. And that's your future self looking out for you in advance. So then when random food shows up, or a generous coworker comes and says, hey, here's some birthday cake, and they just plop it on your desk, you're like, oh no, cake isn't on my plan today. I will plan for cake tomorrow. Or you can even say, thank you very much. And then you just put the cake somewhere else and they don't know you didn't eat it. If you don't want to say, oh, I'm not eating cake today, you just can decide ahead of time if you're going to have it or not. Or you might plan, oh, I only want this on the weekend. And today is only Thursday. So no. I don't have that on Thursdays. So you can make rules for yourself a little bit.
Mhm. I'm hearing a big kind of empowered vibe of like just getting back in the reality that you are in charge or in control. You're the adult is how I would say it in like the therapy kind of parts work of, we all have different parts of ourselves that pop up, they flare up, and the little child is like, throwing a tantrum or, forever. And they kind of, sometimes some of them take over, but ultimately, I think it's a matter of just being like, whew, I'm in charge. And it kind of reminds me of the cancer journey itself and how, a lot of it is just getting back on your horse, as I say, or your surfboard and like riding the wave or like getting up like in your journey. So I love that you have such practical tools, Mary, of getting people back on their horse riding there or like on the surfboard to just ride out the waves. But it's that empowerment piece. And these tools are so practical. I love them.
Yeah, because you don't need complicated stuff. I mean, you could take a
Yeah.
picture of this or have a list. It's like, gee, when
Mhm.
I'm feeling bad. And some people will do that.
Yeah.
I've had people put a list on their pantry door where the snacks are. And it's like, you don't want a snack. You need to go to bed or go brush your
Mhm.
teeth or something. So you're just not going to eat something. Some people say, I close the kitchen after dinner or after 7 p.m. And if you're wandering in there just kind of bored, you're like, I just had dinner at 6. I'm not
Mhm.
hungry. I'm just cruising around looking for something. Yeah, food isn't needed right now. So,
Yeah.
and when you're on treatment, you
Mhm.
may not want to eat all the usual
Mhm.
things. Your taste buds may be impacted. You
Mhm.
may only be able to eat ice cream. Then definitely ice cream is not a bad food. It has protein, it has calories, it is cold, it might feel good in your mouth. So you have
Mhm.
to take your own situation into account because
Mhm.
um, you know you the best. And
Mhm. That's always a good message. I would absolutely agree. Well, thank you, Mary. And I just want to note here, let's see, someone mentioned that just seeing chocolate makes me want to have it. And she asked how she could get a recording, which is all linked here in the chat box. Again, please take a few minutes to fill out this survey before you head out. We'll just linger for a minute. And if anybody continues to have any questions, let us
yeah,
know. Mary, how do we, oh, I see
yeah,
on the screen now. It's like, how do we get in touch with you? So right
here's my
here.
email
Yeah.
address, cell phone number. Feel free to text or
Mhm.
message me. I do different
Okay.
webinars and things throughout. So if you
Great.
email me and want to get on my email list, I'll
Perfect.
send you emails periodically if you want. That's Mary at
Mhm.
weightlosstowellness.org. Um, but yeah, I just
Mhm.
help, it's honestly about structuring your life so that the habits fit in with your life.
Mm.
There's so many diet rules out there, really leaning in towards just
Mm.
trying to eat whole foods that have a lot of
Yeah.
nutrients. Simple strategies like shopping the perimeter of the grocery store is one
Mm.
way to really load up on fruits, vegetables, protein, grains, and all that stuff up and down the aisle tends to be more processed, unless you're
Mhm.
getting canned vegetables and beans and stuff. But a lot of the, Fruit Loops and all
They're
the
in the middle.
cheesy crackers, they're in the middle. They have a shelf life of 6 months. They're full of preservatives and
Yeah.
ingredients you can't pronounce. An apple doesn't need a label because it's just an apple. But all the other stuff,
You have
so
to read all
simple
the
foods,
ingredients.
yes. And the body's pretty amazing. We regenerate and build cells. So the other thing I like to think is what I'm
Mm.
eating now is the building materials that my body will
Mm.
use to make new cells. So when you're on
That's
treatment, your
beautiful.
body's making new red blood cells, it's making all kinds of things that might be healing from surgery. So if you're getting good proteins, if you're getting a lot of leafy greens and foods with antioxidants and really
Mm.
delicious like berries and blueberries and raspberries, you're, getting the high quality ingredients that are going to make good quality cells, not some super big gulp from,
Mhm.
7-Eleven with, the cheese fries or the hot nachos or hot Cheetos or something. Um,
I'm learning a lot with you, Mary, and this is with many habit changes, right? Or hard things. Even like people, I was with a patient today telling me how she got through her cancer journey, just thinking of her kids, and just like coming back to remembering your why and could kind of help us to stay grounded and centered.
Mhm.
I love that. And I love the thought of like what is that? What is the Hippocrates or some quote like let food be thy medicine? Like there's like the good foods feed,
Mhm.
all the cells and yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I did a talk yesterday um, for
Hmm.
Long Beach Transit on just food as medicine, and they wanted to know about blood pressure and diabetes. And really, this DASH diet, which is pretty much half a plate of vegetables, a quarter of protein, and a quarter of whole grains, can really help lower blood pressure. And I didn't even know, but like a lot of those leafy greens have nitric oxide in them that help your blood vessels open up and lower blood pressure. So when you're eating things like, let's say, collard greens or kale or spinach or just, broccoli, that kind of stuff, it's doing things and it's giving yourself vitamins and nutrients. And
Mhm.
so you can think of them as really healing, powerful foods. Um, there's a Joel Furman. He has, well, what is it? But he is all about eating beans and berries and onions and mushrooms, and they have a lot of cancer properties that help, decrease some cancer risks. So,
Mhm.
if that helps motivate you, like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm going
whatever.
to eat some of these things to
Yeah.
really, improve my health and get all the gut microbiome healthy, that there's definitely a link. And um,
Mm-hmm.
so thank you for showing up. Definitely give yourself credit for being here. That is a huge step. Little steps really add up over time. It's a journey. So I don't think the thing I also learned, because I was always like a gimmick dieter, I could do 12 weeks of this and 12 weeks of that. And
Mm-hmm.
so you're being restrictive for 12 weeks. And then it's like, well, that diet's over. I'm going back to like eating the Costco pizza. And it's like, not, maybe a slice with salad and other stuff. You don't need to eat 3 or 4 slices of pizza and maintain that weight. Why did it all come back? Because if you go back to what you were doing,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to regain weight. So eating in a way or making choices that you're willing to do for life, essentially. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. And
Love that. Thank you so much, Mary. And somebody mentioned here, thank you. I love that your
I
approach is non-judgmental to ourselves. So I think that says it all. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, no,
yeah.
we got to be our best friend. And 100%. I mean,
That's the takeaway. I know. Good. All right, you guys feel free, yeah, to click that survey. We will keep you posted on any upcoming events. If stay tuned. What our next we have these events about quarterly or so. So in a couple months, you can also check back. This recording will be posted on the Torrance Memorial website in probably a week or so. Anything else, Becca or Mary, you want to add?
no, thank you for having me. I learned a lot actually just putting
Yeah.
this together. It was fun to
Mhm.
create. So thanks for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mary.